Hey everybody, it's Sean here from Worldwide Red Show. Listen, if you're new around here, do me a favor. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let me know where you're watching from. Guys, everyone's welcome here at Worldwide Red Show. And I want to take a moment today. Listen, right now I'm on like a little holiday break because that's how it works over here in the States. This side of the pond, we celebrate a time of the year we call Thanksgiving. It's really just a great excuse for us not only to remember the beginnings of our nation, but really just to have a good time to eat, hang out with family and eat, and hang out with family and eat, and then eat some more and eat until you're in like a full food coma. Because if there's one thing about Americans, some of you may or may not know, we love to eat. And so, I'm just kind of still a little hungover on all the turkey and everything from yesterday. But man, the news hit yesterday, and it's really taken me about a day to process it, and I'm really blown away, to be honest with you, that Manchester United have appointed, or they are appointing, I don't know how official it is yet, Ralf Rangnick to be the interim manager of Manchester United Football Club for the next 6 months before then moving into an upstairs role with the club. Now, I know that not everyone knows who Ralf Rangnick is. The truth is, I started learning a little bit about Ralf Rangnick about a year ago, and I'm going to tell you why. The reason is because there is a young American coach who's doing really good in Europe that a lot of us are proud of, a lot of us follow and see what's going on with him. And he has come up in the Red Bull system. His name is Jesse Marsch. He's actually at Leipzig now. He had went to Salzburg, and now he's at Leipzig. And so, I started hearing this Ralf Rangnick for a while. And after watching a few coaching videos and watching some videos that he was on, I had really, it's so funny. I have said numerous times that if Manchester United wanted to be serious about football, because let's be honest, while we are the biggest footballing entity on the planet, we're not the biggest club anymore on the pitch. We don't run our club as if the pitch matters first. We run our club because business matters first. Yeah, what's up, my guys? Good to see you. G, good to see you, man. I'd love to get you in here shortly with some thoughts. Jerry as well, if you want to jump in, my bro. Good to see you guys as always. Again, this is a real impromptu stream for me. I just want to talk Ralph's Tricky Reds, as G says, the Ralf Rangnick Reds. R cubed, baby. The Ralf Rangnick Reds. Listen, I am absolutely over the moon that we're getting Ralf Rangnick, because I don't care if it potentially bombs. I don't care if it fails miserably. It ultimately shows an intent by the club to move in a different direction, in a direction whereby what happens within the footballing side of the pitch, that what happens there matters, and it takes priority. And I've always said, Manchester United, while we all are Glazers out, we all don't want the Glazers. I've always said that if we had the right people running the football side, and not Ed Woodward, not the bankers, get the bankers out of the footballing side and bring in a football man, we could win even with the Glazers. Because we all hate them, but let's be honest, they spend the club's money. They don't spend their money, but they spend over $400 million in players for a manager who really was never up to scratch, never was a good enough manager for our club. They spent $400 million because he was a club legend. So this really feels like the potential for a cultural reset. Hey, Tragic, what's up, man? Good to see you. As Tragic is saying, the Gegan Press is coming to United. Listen, we're going to talk about that some in a moment, because we know how Ralph likes to play. I'm sure a lot of people have been watching a lot of his videos. If you don't like it, he is one of the creators and kind of architects of what has come to be known as the Gegan Press. He has brought through a lot of different managers. A lot of managers have been, right now we've seen this real influx of great young German managers, and it seems like German managers are really taking the world by storm in a lot of ways. And the majority of them have been influenced by Ralf Rangnick. It's like we went and got, the master Roshi of the universe. You know what I'm saying? But maybe be better to say who else is the ultimate mentor. Like Yoda or someone. You went and got the Godfather and brought him in, and I think it's phenomenal. I can't wait to see what Klopp is going to say about this, or even Hasenhüttl or any of the Tuchel, those managers. If you don't know, I was reading a story where it said that Tuchel, I think he played for Rangnick, and then injury cut his career short. He was out serving drinks or something, and Ralph Rangnick was like, "Nah, bro, come on, I'm gonna make you a coach." And it's crazy. Yeah, that's it. G is spot on. That's what I needed, G. That's the one. Master Splinter. Master Splinter is here. Absolutely. That is spot on, man. I needed that one. Master Splinter has showed up in the building. And if anything, and I don't think at Ralph's age, from just what we've seen of him the last few years, I don't think he wants to be a manager a long time. I think he loves structuring football clubs to win. And that's the thing I like. I mean, I love the fact that we can have a football man. If this is true, if it is indeed true that we're bringing in a football man to move it basically from the interim role into an upstairs role, listen, I got to give a shout out. And listen, I got to give a shout out here. And maybe a potential apology to John Murtagh, because, I thought when we put John Murtagh in that he was basically just Ed 2.0 because they were friends. But it's okay if they're friends, if, you've got, it's okay if they're friends, if one guy is willing to say, hey, this guy knows more about the situation than I do. Let me let him run it. And apparently Murtagh has had previous relationship where he's gotten to know Rangnick a little bit, spent some time with him, and was really impressed. And he is the one that's behind bringing him in. If that's the case, man, look, Ed's stepping away. Murtagh's doing okay if he's bringing in guys like that, and if he's going to step aside and let real football guys make footballing decisions. I mean, I know that a lot of people are gassed. I see it on football Twitter that we're back and we're going to win the treble and all that stuff. Listen, it's way too premature to go there. But, when you have a guy that's influenced the likes of Klopp, Tuchel, Nagelsmann, Rose, it's nice to have him in the building. It's nice. Now, what's it going to mean for some of our people? Here's the thing. We have to be patient, guys. We've been way too patient with Ole. All these guys who are all ultra Ole in, where you were more of a fan of Ole the player than the manager, I get it. I'm not slighting you for that. But you cannot expect Rangnick to really turn water to wine here with this situation, because Ole's style of football was entirely different than what Ralph's going to want to do. And this is not going to happen overnight. It's definitely not going to happen when we had a whole international break to get Ralph in and we didn't make a decision when we should have. So the thing that kind of blows my mind is, is it possible that United had a plan all along? Is it possible? I don't know. But if we do now, I'm not going to hold it against us that we haven't had a plan forever. And, we want to move away, in my opinion. And people take this as disrespect. I think that we need to move away from the United DNA type stuff. And I'll explain why in a minute. And people take it as very, it's very disrespectful. And, so many people yelling, you don't understand our heritage. Like, I was watching Sir Alex. A lot of you that are typing with your thumbs, and throwing accusations, you weren't even alive. Your dad told you about Sir Alex, right? I was watching. So I love Sir Alex Ferguson. But the fact is, this isn't the 90s. This isn't even the early 2000s. The game has changed. The world has changed. And Manchester United, by bringing in a Ralph Rangnick and then moving him upstairs, has the potential for a real cultural reset. Good to see Steven in the building. Yes. Yeah, bro. Good to see you as well. Yeah, if you want to jump in, I'm gonna I'll shoot you a because I like to hear what opposing fans say. Let me shoot a couple quick invites to some of my people if you want to jump in real quick. What I'll do, guys, for you that would like to jump in, I'll shoot that to you quickly over on the Bird app. You know how we roll over there. So I'll send you something real quick, and just to get a little different perspective of what you guys are hearing. Uh, you are more than welcome to jump in. So give me a second to do that, and we will make that happen. But anyway, guys, listen, I'm just really excited about the potential cultural reset. You know, as Tragic was saying, the gig press is coming to town. You know, it's going to take a little while to implement something like that. So we have to be patient. You know, we really do. And, you know, a lot of people are under the assumption that this automatically means Ten Hag. But I got to be honest with you. You know, you guys don't want to hear this, but between Ten Hag and Poch, who presses more from the front? Who wants to press more from the front? Poch. Ten Hag is more of a possession style manager, which I'd be happy with either. I really would be happy with either. And people that don't understand, you know, why both appointments will be good appointments, don't at me. And if you're judging Poch over PSG, I should probably make a video just on that alone and break some knowledge off on that. But anyway, good to see you, Steven. Want to go ahead and throw Steven on the show. How you doing, mate? Things good?
How about you?
Man, I'm buzzing. You know, I'm buzzing because if this,
you've done what big clubs do.
Well, it's taken an awful long time. So there's nothing like official yet, but there's not this much smoke without fire.
Is Ragnick going in?
It looks like it's Ralf Ragnick. It really looks like we're getting Ragnick for interim period, and then we're going to move him upstairs to be more of a DOF. Yeah, man. Well, the thing is, Ralph is not a guy right now that really wants to manage for a long time. He's like the tinker man that wants to build the club. And to actually have a football person at Manchester United and not bankers making decisions, it actually is kind of blowing my mind. Also, want to welcome to the stream real quick my guy. You guys know him from Red Devil Studio G. How you doing, pal?
Red, mate.
I'm doing good. Thanks. How you doing? How's Sean doing as well, man? I could just, bro, man. I'm gassed. What can I say, man? I am so gassed with disappointment. Because I know a lot of United fans.
I'll replace you with gas in there, mate.
Arsenal beware. Arsenal beware. That's all I'm saying. Arsenal beware. Although, funny enough, bro.
Honestly, to be fair, even if you had Ollie, this would be a type of game that Arsenal would go and lose. We're all favourites, knowing how bad Ollie is, and we go and absolutely ruin ourselves. It's typical Arsenal.
Well, I was going to ask because I read that there were reports that apparently Arteta's wanting Arsene to come back to the club in a particular role.
He wants Arsene. Right. Here's the thing. There are Arsenal Arteta fans that are sitting there, and they are sitting there and saying, "Oh, I wanted Wenger out, but I want Arteta in." Now your manager wants Wenger to come in to work with him personally and work closely as a manager. So that basically means A, your manager ain't good enough, and B, he's bringing the guy you wanted out in the first place. How the hell you want Wenger out when he couldn't get 4, and yet you're happy to sit with a manager who can only get 8? Is beyond me. I tweeted about it, and I'm like, the fact you are now looking at that and you're seeing what's happening now makes you look totally deluded and totally stupid.
Well, here's my question for both of you. G, if you would like to address this first, real quick, before I ask you.
Sure, man.
My question.
First of all, can you guys, Sean? So can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay. Was it a bit? Okay, cool. Go on, man.
Yeah, I just wanted to put out there that, people find it a little disrespectful, like when I've said things like we need to move on from Sir Alex because they take that wrong. I love Sir Alex. I think he's the greatest there's ever been. He's the legend. He's the GOAT. But this is not the 90s and 2000s. And I'm afraid with Ollie, we were falling in love with all this United DNA foolishness. I'll listen to a United.
Sean, it was like with Wenger. You remember with Wenger, right? And a lot of fans didn't turn until that last season when we were getting nowhere near the top four, and they were like, yeah, okay, yeah, he needs to go.
But aren't y'all
Right?
doing the same thing at Arsenal right now? If you're going to bring in Arsene Wenger again, is that not just not really moving on? Because this is the thing, with bringing in Ralph Ragnick, I feel like we're moving into something new. So, what do you think about that, G?
Me?
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Go ahead, Stephen. What do you feel about that?
I mean, the thing is that like this manager was quite happy to sit there and say top four's a trophy, right? Now, if Arsenal want to go back to winning ways, why the hell are we getting a manager that's sitting there and saying that's quite happy to sit there in fourth, right? The guy never bought anything really proper when we did have a title challenge to be able to buy the extra 2 players that would have won us the league. No, he'd rather do it on the cheap, right? And that's why he ended up getting the sack, because he weren't good enough anymore, right? We had to move on, right? It's the same with Sir Alex. You had to move on from what was going on, because it was just not. It just, and plus him having to rebuild the squad, it just wasn't going to work, especially with the Glaziers there. So he knew he weren't going to get the back in, so he left, right? So, but with Wenger, we knew he weren't good enough anymore. He couldn't win a league anymore. He can't even get in top four even the last 2 seasons. He finished 5th and 6th in those last 2 seasons. So people kept saying, "Oh yeah, but he kept getting in top four." Remember the last 2 seasons, 5th, 6th, right? So, but now these people that said, "Oh, we need to move on if we're going to be able to challenge and push on forward." You're now sitting there with a manager, and quite happy to sit there with a manager that's got 8th twice. It's not 8th in his first season, which I can hear. This is 8th twice in 2 seasons, which means you haven't progressed forward in any way. Right? And now you want to bring back the manager who we tried to get rid of because, let me think. Oh yeah, he was more happy to sit in fourth rather than push for a title. And people want to say that I'm deluded, not backing Arteta. Right?
Yeah,
What club in the Premier League has asked their ex-manager to come back and help them because their manager's no good? No, only Arsenal Football Club. And
Right.
they wonder why they look like stupid idiots when they back Arteta. If the manager's not good enough and they need help from the ex-legend, right, who isn't the greatest Arsenal manager ever, Herbert Chapman is, right, and I'll stand by that until my death's door, right? If they're happy, if they're quite happy to back that, right, then I'm sorry, right, this club's done. This club's finished.
Yeah, I see. Good to see Connor in the building. He says that he's a great manager, even better. Finding good managers. Yeah, exactly, bro. I am right there with you. G, real quick, I know you're on the tube, so let me ask you this question.
Yeah, sorry.
It's all good. Yeah, I didn't know if it was you or who. I was like, somebody's got a baby situation. But G, I'm just curious. G, what do you feel? I know we're going to really go into depth about this here on your channel a little bit, but I don't want you to give me all the spoilers. But do you feel like with Ralph Ragnick, if we go this route, that we are actually moving into a cultural reset where we're going to, and people take that the wrong way. It's not to reset anything is not necessarily a negative, right? It's moving into the next, and people get so offended, like you're just disrespecting the past. Well, listen, it's the past for a reason. We're moving into next. So G, real quick, how do you feel about Ragnick? Right? I know you said you're excited, but what are you thinking overall?
I mean, first and foremost, like I said, I'm more so excited based on the cultural reset that's going to happen. Not necessarily the management, because I don't expect him to win the Premier League or the Champions League in 6 months' time. I think that's delusional. So will we play better football? Hopefully in 6 months' time we do, though that's not saying much, to be honest. But my expectation is not that he goes on and wins the Champions League Premier League anytime soon. What I want to see is that when he does go into that senior role, that we see that him being heavily involved in the recruitment of the next manager. So thereby him and the next manager working closely together to establish the football that they want. whether that's Ten Hag, whether that's Poch, whether that's even someone that we don't even know. So it's a lot of up and coming good German managers and coaches that that are coming through the ranks. That Ragnick, who's obviously sought after, might say, actually, you know what, go for that guy because he might be the next Klopp, he might be the next something. And the irony is that I'm actually prepared to take that risk. Like, it's weird because like now I'm like, with that background, I'm more likely to say, oh yeah, you know what, based on your advice, not Edward Word's, but on Ragnick's advice, I'm more happy to take that risk with a up and coming German gegenpress coach than I am if Ed Woodward was to appoint an established manager, if that makes any sense. Because at least I can kind of see that there's a working together, a structure, obviously going down to the youth level. Because and I think here's the thing that's important with this, and why I actually thought this point was surprising, is that people forget that actually Chelsea actually wanted to get him before Tuchel. Chelsea wanted to get Ragnick as an interim before Tuchel, and actually it was Ragnick that actually recommended Chelsea go after Tuchel. So, but the reason why that Chelsea didn't give it to him is because the form of interim he felt was too short, but more importantly, it was because Ragnick wanted a lot more control that Marina and Bram weren't willing to share, and that's fair enough because that's how they run their football club.
Mm-hmm.
So if Ragnick accepted this job, what it means is that that the Glazers, the Edward, etc., have accepted that this guy is going to get a significant amount of control over this club, which they have to cede to. Because if they don't give it to him, he's going to be very difficult to work with. This isn't a guy that's like, oh, I'm happy to be second.
I think G's about had it. He must be in the depths of the London
Can you hear me?
infrastructure.
Can you guys hear me? Am I back? Am I back?
You're back now.
Am I back? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Give me a back. Sorry. So yeah, I'll just end my point because I'm a stable connection. But anyway, at the end of the day, stable structure, working with your manager, and also even recruitment, into the system, whether it's good coaches, but also for the youth academy. I mean, there's a lot of things. So I think this is again one of those 3-year project things. It's here for 2 years, so it's 6 months, and then 2.5 years. So what I would like to see is by the end of the 3 years, this United team has come the force to be reckoned with.
Yeah. And there's a lot of things that we will not be doing a gegenpress against Arsenal. Like, we're just not. I see a lot of people talk. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. It takes a little bit of time to completely change how a team is played. So whether people like it or not, under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, after he became the real manager, we were very pragmatic. We played very pragmatic. You're not going to turn this team into like a gegenpressing team overnight.
But you have got the squad to do it easily. Right?
Yeah.
If you set it up right, you can easily turn it into one very easily.
Yeah, I think it
takes too long.
Yeah, but I'm trying not to get too gassed too quick. I just want to give the guy a moment to work some magic. I do feel there are players that fit it better than others. I feel, funny enough,
fans on Twitter have already done that, mate. Trust me.
Well, funny enough, the player for me that I feel like a pressing style system works the best for in our club that no one rates is Fred. Because Fred is a pressing midfield machine. I mean, that's the one thing he does really well. I mean, like some of his ball recovery stats.
Every Man United fan's buttons.
Well, yeah, he's really going to. I think he's a guy that could really, really go forward if we get the right people around him. I think even guys, we don't know what's going to happen. I don't even want to really say this or that's going to really work or happen until after I see that first game personally. It's going to take him some time. I'm actually more excited about the potential of what happens when Ralph moves upstairs. That's what excites me, is that it's going to be, it could be amazing.
That's the major thing, because at the minute I don't think that the thing is the way they've done it is because the Glaziers, I don't think, can afford. Now they've got to get rid of Solskjaer now as well. they can't afford to like have this blow up again. They really can't. After what happened last season with the protests and everything, and the way the fans still feel now, and the way the fans feel now that you're in this situation, and the fact that you've now got an interim manager, but yet at the moment, like we don't know what the future is. We don't know what Pogba's going to be. Is he going to stay? Is
Nah,
Virgil now going to stay?
he's leaving. Him
Yeah,
and
but the thing is,
Mbappe
there's a
be at
load of
Real
players.
Madrid next year.
There's a load of players there that don't know what the future is. So don't even know after the end of this season who the next manager is. But
Yeah,
but at least what you've got is you've got someone who's actually is football. He actually like knows who to get for Man United because he understands football. Um, and that's the main thing because at the minute you've got no one in there. And the other thing is that as much as you might get a new manager, the problem just and I'm not saying Oli was not a problem. Oli was a problem, right? Oli was a problem. It was a big problem. The other problem is that you had Mike Phelan, McKenna, and Carrick. They're all sitting there while they were under Mourinho and it was still crap.
yeah.
Right? So why is it now they've got another manager sacked, and some of the schoolboy errors that have been done by Man United during this season have been basic defending mistakes, right? Basic tactic training that and basic coaching, right? And if they can't if they can't coach these set of players who are supposed to be world beaters, the basics of football, why the hell has Ollie gone and they ain't gone with him? Why have they got to be
This is
like?
a big issue,
I think
especially when
this is
I
the
don't
thing.
think
I think what they've done, and what I hate as well, is that like they've decided to get rid of Ollie, and though he's a legend of the club, they've made it look like it's all his fault.
they hung him out to dry with that. His
They've
whole
hung
team
an
needs to go.
ex-legend out to dry, and I think that's
Yep.
disgusting.
And
It's
and I
disgusting.
hate it. And I don't even. You
I
guys
felt sorry
know
for him.
I've never been a big Ole as manager fan. I just haven't, and I hate that they did that to him. I don't feel it was right. I just want to answer the question real quick. It's funny. I see some of the stuff going on in the chat. The reason that Poch actually, if you watch his football, how Poch wants to play, it fits the high press, better than Ten Hag, where Ten Hag is more of a possession style manager. The problem is Poch wants more control. So I think that I just don't know if Poch will want to come now. That's just what's crazy to me. Ten Hag, one of the reasons I wanted Poch over Ten Hag is that Poch has shown how he works with bad structure, where Ten Hag's had amazing structure. So it's funny because Ten Hag might be the better choice now because he's used to working with strong structure above him. We don't know. To be honest with you, I would be over the moon with either of them as long as Ragnick is one of the main people helping us make football decisions. It doesn't matter. I can make a great case for Poch or Ten Hag, and people that are judging Poch, especially after one game against Man City, really don't pay attention at all to what's going on anywhere outside of their own little vicinity. So I don't, and plus I don't judge managers over PSG. I made the mistake of doing that with Thomas Tuchel last year, and I just won't do that anymore. So PSG is a poison chalice. I think you guys know how I feel about that. You imagine Poch going into PSG saying, "Listen, guys, I want you see how my Tottenham team played. We're going to press from the front." Messi and them were like, "Man, get out of here."
You could
What's
tell
that?
you could tell Poch is a typical Spurs manager. He goes to PSG, already wins a trophy. Wins a trophy there, by the way. Okay, so that you can say why.
He'll win a double this year
But
if he stays.
But then they've gone. I think they were top of the league at that time. They were top of the league when he took over, and he lost the league to Lille.
Yeah,
Lille,
but
right?
that Lille
That
team was beating up on a lot of people, man.
I know.
So listen, I
It's
don't
not
blame Poch for
disrespect.
last
It's not
year.
disrespect to Lille, but
No,
sorry,
no,
it's
not just that. Think about this.
It's
If
just
your two best players at PSG, right? Your two best players are Neymar, who runs and does whatever he wants with his
and then pisses
sister
off
and
to a
whoever
festival
else.
for 3 weeks. Which, by the way, if they actually didn't do that, he probably would have won the title.
But here's the other thing. Yeah, if they would have won the title if Neymar would have been there. The other problem is their best player, who makes the team tick,
Mhm.
is on the Phil Jones recovery program. And his name is Verratti. Verratti is always hurt. If without Verratti in the midfield, they are so basic, and they don't have anyone to protect that overrated, in shape, dark skinned Harry Maguire named Kimpembe, because that's who them mugs have in the back. Kimpembe is rubbish, right? Marquinhos, great player. Hakimi they didn't have last year. You have Ander Herrera, who I love, but he's past it. I mean, I love him. I always love him because he spit on City's badge. But let's face it, Ander Herrera, he's out, helping young ladies that look to be lost in the middle of the night that managed to rob him, whatever he's doing. You have, Paredes is okay. Gini Wijnaldum has had a hard time getting in and out of the club. They got who's the other guy Gay, the other guy they use.
Guay.
Bro, listen, that PSG team is so overrated because they brought in Messi.
I'm sorry. PSG should have been winning that league.
The last year they had a chance to win it, but if Neymar,
last year they should have won that league.
But if Neymar would have stayed in the game, if he'd have played, they would have won it.
Yeah, but I know fans. I know a fan is a very good friend of mine. He's helped me on the channel a lot, but he's like, you can't slag off Neymar, and I'm like, yeah, but
I love Neymar. I think he's a beast, but he don't want to play football.
But what gives him the right to piss off to a festival and say he's injured for 3 weeks just so he can go to a festival? And he said, "Oh, he's allowed to live in it." And I'm like, no, because if he did that for Arsenal, we lost the title. Do you know what I'd do? I'd sell him right now.
Well, and that's the thing.
No.
But the manager, Tuchel, even said it. Tuchel said when he left last year, I don't know if you remember.
But then what does that show to the dressing room? It shows to the dressing room like,
the manager don't matter.
It doesn't really matter. It's like,
no, Leonardo matters, and that's why Poch wants to leave.
But why is it? It's like if you've done that and you've given that to one player, the rest of the dressing room go like, well, why aren't we allowed to do that?
Well, I think
why don't we get that luxury?
Well, Sergio Ramos has decided to play when he wants to. He didn't even kick the ball yet.
That right. It's not like he's won everything in football to say like Ronaldo's done. Right? Yeah. To say like Ronaldo's won everything in football, so he could quite easily sit there and say, "I'm gonna have 3 weeks off to go to a festival." And then
here's the other thing we don't get:
he's done everything in football to deserve it. He ain't done anything yet.
How much money have they invested in him, even under the table, with all of this Qatar World Cup and all that kind of stuff? Right? He was one of the spokesmen for that. There's just so much grime we don't know. Neymar can go right over. He went right over Tuchel's head to Leonardo. Was like, listen, this is what I'm doing. And Tuchel was like, Tuchel even said, he said, these guys, try motivating them to want to win the league, right? I think that PSG is just, I hope they never win the Champions League. I don't think they will. I think that Poch will probably
PSG is a holiday club, man. That's you go, you ball in the Liga and you get your win into Messi. It's not really a serious.
And you get paid.
Well, and Messi isn't feeling it because here's one thing about the French league: people don't know because they don't watch it. It's extremely physical.
It is physical.
The worst teams there will kick the crap out of anyone. They don't care. It's not like in La Liga when Messi come to town and people just bowed before his greatness. In France, their ultras are scared to death. They just kick people.
So it's like quickly ask. I box in the chat. But by the way, like I'm like you could spell my name right, being really nice. But the sponsors, it's not my. It's my shirt and it's a Mercedes F1.
Oh, here we go. Yeah,
like it's a Mercedes F1 shirt.
He's doing that for Connor because they try to talk this.
It's Formula One, mate. Right, and I'm supporting my boy.
I'm
supporting my guy, Lewis Hamilton. He's taking the title, mate.
Can I just ask a quick question to you guys? I'll start with Sean first, but obviously just with Ragnarek's brief spell. Which 3 players do you think will improve the most under his management, at least in these initial 6 months?
Oh, for me?
Just 3 players.
I have 3 players immediately I think of. One I've already mentioned is Fred, because Fred, his pressing stats in the midfield, I've always told people Fred is a good player for what he does, right? Fred can win the ball back. He's not press resistant, so, let him win the ball and pass it forward quickly, right? Like he does for Brazil or anywhere else. He's okay at that. Fred, Marcus Rashford, and Donny Van de Beek, because Donny Van de Beek's
Okay.
actually going to get to play. Now, I will give everybody a new chance. I listen. I'll drop the last name and actually say Scott, because I don't rate Scott at all. Like, even to be in the.
I'm glad you did that, because when Arteta came in, I didn't give that to Xhaka.
No, I'm giving everybody.
No, wait, I didn't give that to Xhaka. He was like,
no, I'm giving everybody, even Scott. But
then I forgot Arteta was gonna like name him as his like second born son for God's sake. Like, the guy can't do it wrong. The guy gets injured for 5 games or gets banned for 3 games. As soon as he gets back, straight in the team. Martinelli's sitting there like, what?
Bro, I would take him over. I would take him over Scott, but that's just, I don't rate him at all.
Are you sure?
For how they play him. Absolutely.
You want to do it right now?
I would do it today.
There you go.
I'll do it today.
I'll call him now.
But you have to play him in the same position. In fairness to Scott, I'll say this. In fairness to Scott, I've only seen him play well a few times, and when he is, listen, I will put this up there. I think this is hilarious. So he's not. He's basic. He's not class. He's not good. He runs a lot and has a lot of energy. What he's good at is simple. If we let him play in an attacking role or more as a 10, where he could go forward and get in the box, the one thing that Scott can do well is he can shoot. He's got a good shot on him. And I feel like if he was played as a box-to-box 8 and allowed to get in the box where he doesn't have the defensive responsibilities, because defensively, bro, he's sketchy. I mean, like, he gets sat down. He can't defend. He goes hiding in games where he doesn't show for the ball. And it annoys me because as a coach, I'm constantly yelling at my own sons. Whenever they start hiding in a game, I'm like, go pick up the ball, right? Go pick up the ball. And Scott will hide in games, period.
Good.
The only reason that Scott's allowed to get by with what he gets by with is because he came to the academy and he's British, period. If it was anybody else, he will be getting murdered. And I'm judging him, bro. I'm judging him as a starter.
Sean, by the way, this ain't like Team GB or anything. So like he's Scottish. Like, is it different?
No. Do you realize who else was Scottish?
Who?
Sir Alex Ferguson.
I know.
So because he gave him a stamp of approval as a youth because he likes him and knows him, this matters to our fan base, bro.
Yeah.
No. That's not true. I'm talking about not third man runs, bro. I'm talking about he hides when we have the ball playing out from the back. There are times he does not show for the ball. The majority of his passing stats are sideways and backwards. Scott is good making runs into the box. He's good on those second or third runs. I get that. But I literally think that this guy I just personally feel he's completely basic. I think he's a tool to be used. I feel he's used wrong. That's why I'm giving him a complete read. Listen, I'm with Vaughn on this. He gets a complete opportunity to show me otherwise, because I don't feel like Ollie used him correctly at all. So every player gets a reset for me. Every player. Listen, okay, Vaughn, let me just say it to you this way. There have been numerous games where I've watched him not only hide, right? I've watched him in games have 40 touches.
I don't watch Man United, but even I've seen it.
I've watched him have 40 touches from a midfield position. That's 40 in a game.
That is
and even less. Where you can't. I don't care if you're playing the pivot. You know what's funny though, Vaughn?
That is less than that's less than 1 touch per 2 minutes.
Well, listen to this. Paul Pogba, who doesn't play well in the pivot the way we were playing it, would get hammered because he wasn't getting the ball as much. He wasn't affecting the play. But Scott plays worse. His defensive stats are worse. His passing stats are worse. But somehow he's okay.
Sean. If there's one player that might actually suffer from the Ragnarok, it actually might be Pogba.
Well, Pogba's he's gone, bro. He needs to go anyway.
Oh no, he's gone. He's yeah.
Do you know what?
But just putting that FY there, I think he might struggle under the system. So yeah.
Do Do you know
This
what I
is
think?
this
Like
is
Scott reminds me. He's more like for me. He's more. He's like
bro.
an
He
El Neni.
misses them when he tries to
He's
tackle. Bro,
no.
look,
He's like
Connor
an.
is Connor is my guy, but he is so Scottish biased. He cannot, bro.
Yeah, mate.
You
Mate,
can
you want to see him when you want to see him on the F1, mate. Like
no,
he's like
bro.
he's
You
McLaren
cannot
mad.
take anything. You got to take everything Connor says with a pinch of salt when it comes to anything Scottish, bro, because he's all in. He's probably sitting there
Sean,
right
it's
now
anything
out in
Scottish.
Vegas somewhere.
It's anything
and
Scottish or
bro,
anything McLaren.
no,
Like,
Connor is sitting somewhere in Vegas, just come off the craps table. He's sitting there with his little. He's probably wearing one of those little, the little bikini swimsuits that like the swimmers wear. His is the Scottish flag. Big Connor sitting at the side drinking a Guinness with a Scottish flag right now.
That's fucking Irish, mate.
Bro,
that's good. Let's get his Irish, mate. Get it right.
Anyway,
you mean a bottle of whiskey?
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with Box. I think that Pogba.
Actually, Scott reminds me of like an El Neni. Like,
yeah. I agree with this statement.
Like,
by the
he
way.
is a great.
I'm judging him as a starter.
For me, he's like El Neni for me because he's not that player that'll start every week for me, but he's one of those that you could throw on with 20 minutes to go to just see the game out.
And he's a tool to be used in the right way.
Yeah, he's a hard worker, granted, but he's just ain't got the talent. So
I'm a hard worker. Put me in. I'll kick people. I'll kiss the badge. I'll do all that.
Sometimes, like, and I know it's FIFA, right? But sometimes on FIFA, even I've kept El Neni as a backup, just like he's there. He's always a hard worker, and that will work for the ball, right? But I won't use him as a first team player. But he's there if injuries pack up or like you got 20 minutes to just see a game out, right? It's perfect. Just put him in there, play 2 DMs, bang.
Well, guys, listen real quick. I'm gonna jump. I'm gonna hurry up and throw G on. I'm gonna let you guys know where to follow Steven. You can see his stuff right there. We're gonna have him on for our Arsenal preview in a few weeks. Steven, thanks for jumping in, bro. Really appreciate it.
It should be next week, isn't it? We've got till Thursday, haven't we?
It's on, baby. It's on. Ragnar's Tricky Reds.
Connor's.
All right, bro. I'll see you in a bit. Hey, okay, G, real quick. Thanks everybody for Steven for jumping in. Our local Arsenal, fan. I don't want to say expert because some of y'all Arsenal fans that get in here want to argue with Steven all the time. G ran from me right when I was about to throw G in. So anyway, I'll ask you guys because I'm actually going to be on the stream with G later, so I don't want to maybe get all his info out earlier. No, this is true. This is true. I'm not getting into that. I think that ultimately, who do you guys think, real quick? I know Connor put some names in the chat. Vaughn, if you're still here, Box, Tragic, who do you feel is impacted most by this, and who excites you as far as players? For me, I'm not going to lie. I am really excited to see what can happen with Marcus Rashford because I personally feel that Marcus has not progressed much in the last few years. He's a pace and power player, but he's got energy for days. And I think that there's another level that Marcus can go up. I think that Marcus really has another level. I think that I don't know what's going to happen. I see Connor saying Pogba and Martial most negatively affected. I think that with Pogba, it doesn't matter. I think that he's been playing into to go for a while. So good on him. He needs to just go on. And, people think I'm a hater. Pogba's my favorite player. And I've said for a while he needs to leave. So it is what it is. And for me, it's always club over an individual. That's just how I view things. It's always going to be what I think is best for United over the individual. And this is what I'm talking about, Vaughn. I think that this is exactly it. I think that Marcus Rashford has world-class ability, but sometimes he's still playing like a 16-year-old academy kid, wanting to just get in behind. If he is onside, which is maybe 30% of the time, when he gets the ball too often, his head is down. He doesn't play with his head up, looking always to make the right decision. And the truth is, Mason's the same way. It's because they're strikers, and they're literally, they want to score all the time, and sometimes it's best to make the pass. I think that I just don't think that. I think that Pogba. I think the Pogba experiment and the Pogba ship has sailed, and I don't think we ever got the best out of Pogba. And I think that it's partially the club's fault and Pogba's fault. I think that it's like a marriage that ends in divorce. It's not always one side or the other. Sometimes it is a little bit of 50-50. Maybe it's 75-25, but no one is 100% to blame all the time. And so that's where I stand with that. My wife's just looking in like, I guess she don't like what I'm talking about all of a sudden.
Soccer, love, and marriage.
But that's not soccer, love, and marriage. I'm talking about the fact that Paul Pogba is leaving. Sometimes it's not all one fault or the other. Sometimes. Anyway, guys, I'm back with you for a second. My wife's trying to distract me.
I'm leaving. Christmas shopping out.
Christmas shopping out. Okay. Oh, jeez. Black Friday, guys. My goodness. I think that, let's see what you guys are saying. A whole front line be affected. Yeah. I think there's more of a player in Rashford and Bruno, somewhat for some similar reasons as well. I think that both of them need more structure, but for different reasons. And I think that ultimately Pogba's just been, I think he's been misused. And here's what I think happened. I think this will create a problem. One, we forget Pogba's pretty injury prone since he's been to United. When him and Jose fell out, it went south. Right? All he comes in, all he gives him this free roll is interim, and everything is great. But then he gets hurt, and then it's being whispered that Juve is coming in for him, Real Madrid's coming in for him, where he might be sold. So we get Bruno Fernandes. And I feel like Bruno was kind of the Pogba replacement, and I just feel like Pogba's had a hard time ever finding his way back into the whole situation. I just think it's best for everybody that he goes. But Bruno and Marcus both, for me, I feel they both need more structure. They both need to be, Bruno needs reined in a little bit because sometimes he just is out of control of some of what he's doing on the pitch. Marcus, I think it's just I think it was Vaughn that said earlier, it's a footballing brain situation that sometimes he just makes. I think Bruno makes the wrong decisions because he's trying to be extraordinary. I think Marcus makes the wrong decisions because he has to evolve from just being a kick and run pace player. Now, there are kick and run pace players who do evolve. You can at me, you can fight me. I don't care. I'm big, and it doesn't matter. I ain't scared. I never rated Mohamed Salah as highly as most people rated him really until this year, because I felt like he was a gegenpress system player, pace and power player, and Klopp was making him the player that he was as far as GA. I saw him have terrible first touches. I saw him take 10 shots a game to score one goal. I just thought he was overhyped. This year, whatever happened, Mohamed Salah, listen, he's on a whole different level this year, even technically. And, I have a Liverpool fan I've done a show with. I'm going to get on because we like to argue about this. But, I think that Marcus, if he could have that switch turned, could you imagine if Marcus really reached his potential? We already have an amazing, technically gifted player who Ragnick loves, by the way, in Jadon Sancho. And if we could ever really turn Mason into the 9 he could be, man, that front three could be vicious. Listen, this is exactly why what you're saying here, right? This is exactly why people have gotten mad at me, because they think I'm a Bruno hater. Because anytime you critique anyone on this platform, on football Twitter, you're a hater. I even said this last year. I said, here's a thought. I actually like Bruno and Pogba. You don't have to pick. It's just weird. But what you're saying is so true in that Bruno's free roll, Ollie shot himself in the foot by allowing Carrick and McKenna to give Bruno that role. Because I don't believe that Ollie took all the tactics. I don't believe that. I believe he even said he didn't take all the tactics or even take training. Bruno will press by himself with no one around. Please, dear Lord, baby Jesus, help me to get this through to people. Why are you pressing a goalkeeper? Unless the goalkeeper gets a back pass or the ball or he has a heavy touch, you don't just press a keeper for the sake of pressing the keeper. And Bruno would leave his midfield area, run to press a keeper, leave Scott and Fred exposed. Scott is an attacking player, played back on striker, I think, in the academy. I know he played at least 10, right? You got him playing defense. Fred's an energizer buddy who's good defensively. But I think if you could take Fred and Scott and love child them into one player, you'd have a ridiculously good midfielder. I think that's one of the problems is that both of them are they have good things and deficiencies that the other one doesn't have. And you say, well, it balances each other out. Yeah, but if you put them both together, you'd have one complete midfielder instead of two what we have. But oh my goodness. See, listen, this is Vaughn saying this. This isn't me because I'll get all kinds of hate. He says he's the Forrest Gump of football. Always running, always involved, no idea what he's doing. And this is why he needs structure. There's a lot of times that's absolutely the truth. There are times Bruno picks up the ball. He isn't even looking. He's just hoping that someone is somewhere forward and he plays a hero pass. Now, when they work, for example, this is what kills me with Bruno. He has it in his locker. The pass he played in the last game that broke the back lines, where he picks up his head, sees what he's doing, takes the touch, and plays the pass, was borderline footy porn. I mean, that's what it was. It was filthy, right? Filthy. But he doesn't always play that way because he's a lot of times just so loose on it, right? There's times I've seen him pick up the pass comes to him and he tries some hero pass that if he just collected the ball and made a pass, I'm like, bro, you're killing me. And I don't feel like he has the technical ability at times to do what he does. And when it comes off, it's great. When it doesn't, it's just frustrating. And then if you say something about it, you're a hater. And I love Bruno. I just feel like he needs better coaching. And also, guys, I don't want to bring up Ollie as a manager anymore, really. I try not to because I'm just grateful to have Ollie the player back, right? But it was unfair, in my opinion, that the club just threw Ollie out like his coaching staff had nothing to do with everything that was going on. I don't know about you guys. That just didn't sit well with me because, it was almost like, it's Ollie's fault that we're crap. No, it's not. His whole team. Now, I get when you're the head, you're the one that gets chopped. But, man, I'm sorry. You can say what you want, but that game the other night against Villarreal was much the same as what we've seen under Ollie. The only difference was the starting lineup was a little different. And here was what was crazy. So Donny van de Beek comes in, plays well in that second half, in the midfield. But then when he gets his opportunity to start, Bruno's benched, and they put him in the 10. I'm like, gee, Christmas. Play the guy where he was playing well. But, again, Ollie gets all the blame. And, again, you guys know me. I've been very critical of Ollie, and I've made my jokes and said my things, but he is not the only one responsible for what's going on. And I feel it's shameful how, a lot. Hopefully, when Ralph comes in, he brings some of his own staff, and a lot of these guys get packing because it wasn't right that only Ollie's on the chopping block for that. That's just my opinion. Let's see what you guys are saying in the comments. Fred's good when he wants to be good. We saw that the other day. Big Fred's good. Yeah. We have whole team new structure. Yep. We beat UVA with McFred. There are outliers. There definitely are outliers. We won the 50-50 tackles. Yeah. It's the thing. Sometimes, guys, it does come down to, I hate to say it, but when you see a lack of effort in that kind of stuff that's going on, that's why I listen. PSG had the same issues at times with Thomas Tuchel. And I was showing my sons the game the other day. The first goal that Manchester City got to tie the game, because PSG went up 1-0. Hate on me if you want. I've seen Bruno do this, but not as bad as Messi. Messi literally did not try to make a challenge at all. They literally walked past it, made a pass out to the wing that if he's even trying at all, he at least hinders that run of play. The City players wide open, no one challenging, Messi standing there staring at him. He gets a pass in, and the pass in led to the equalizing goal. Now, we can sit here and say, Poch has to do a better job of motivating these players. And I get that. And there is an element of that. And I love Leo Messi. When he's on the ball, one of the greatest of all time. Some people say the greatest. But that type of stuff is inexcusable. I watched Bruno Fernandes do that this year, not even try to put in a challenge, and we ended up giving up a goal. It's inexcusable. And, yeah, the manager's got to take some blame, but when you have a guy like Messi, what are you going to tell him? You need to be putting in a challenge area. Are you going to press? He hasn't done it in 4 or 5 years. At Barca, he walked around and did what he wanted. When he gets on the ball, he comes to life. GOAT status. Any other time, it's crazy, and it hurts the team at times. Listen, and the funny thing is, people can say what they want. I've watched PSG a few times this year since I thought we were probably getting Poch. Neymar, who I think is an amazing player, he actually does at times track back. He'll try a little bit. I mean, maybe 30% of the game. Messi and Mbappe, you're not even getting 20% where they're going to try to make a play defensively. And the problem with that is you say, well, they're attacking players. It's not their focus. Well, when you press, like Poch always will press with Spurs or Southampton, the press starts from the front, right? You cannot have a team that the front is giving no resistance at all. And that's what I seen the other day, especially against City. And here's the bad thing. Neymar should have put them up 2-1. Was it 2-1 when Neymar went through? He never misses that. And they still could have come out of it with something. I just feel like when you have players like that, that starts upstairs. That starts with Leonardo. That starts with the ownership. And with Manchester United bringing Ralph in, the reason I feel like it's a cultural reset is Ralph is not going to allow that. The Glazers, they don't care. Ed, he's more worried about what kind of sponsorship deal he's getting. But Ralph Ragnick being a part of this club is not going to allow that type of stuff to happen because he don't play that. And so that's the thing. Guys like Marcus, guys like Bruno, I think have a great future. And I think if we get this structure right, listen. And here's another thing that Vaughn's pointing out that people don't like to see. There are times in a game where Anthony Martial works. I've seen him work back. I've seen him press forward. Jadon Sancho actually has some of the best, running stats when he's gotten to play and defending stats. The guys that don't typically track back and work like that have been Marcus and Bruno, but they're free of any criticism. But under Ralph, I think that changes. So I'm excited to see what happens. So real quick, any of you that are still here, I know I'm about to wrap up. What are your expectations for the season now? Do you, in the comments, let me know. What do you guys think? Do you think that we are going to, do you think that we'll win a trophy? Do you think that it's going to take about a month for Ralph to get these guys playing a certain way? Do you not have any expectations? Like, what are you feeling now? You know, I'm just curious what you guys think. Is top four? You know, listen, if we get through this Chelsea game and get points out of it, now typically we haven't played Arsenal well the last few years, and Lord, Steven's not here now, so I can say this: I hate losing to Arsenal. Chelsea and then Arsenal, after that, our run of fixtures is beautiful. I mean, if we could go on one of those amazing runs, we could really, really be in a good position, you know, after Christmas. And I see that. I'm hoping that happens. I'm with, let me see what you guys are saying. Fourth place, but clear understanding what listen, I wouldn't want to ask for anything else, Vaughn. Personally, that's what I want. And I'm at the point where I don't care if it's my favorite players. I've said this before, even when Ollie was in charge. I said, I love Paul Pogba. I think that when Paul Pogba was on it, which we don't see him on it enough, I get that. I think that he is the best midfield player on the planet on form, when he wants to be on form. When he's at that peak level, he does everything. He's big, he's strong, he's fast, his touch is ridiculous. He can shoot, his passing range but we don't see it enough. I feel like there's problems at that club with him and with his agent. I think he's needed to leave. Personally, I wanted him to leave. So it's never been an agenda for me. You know, I think that if anyone maybe I had an agenda with a little bit, maybe against a little bit, was probably Dan James. I won't even say it's an agenda. I just didn't rate him and people got mad at me for it. But also, I'm with Box on this. I'm 100%. Listen, optimistically cautious. You know, I could have said it better. On paper, it's the best route that we could have taken. Like, I didn't want an interim manager, but I said it would be nice to get, Ragnick in and then move him upstairs and then get a good manager. I think the club want Pochettino. I think that the majority of the fans want Ten Hag because he's the flavor of the month. I still think that I don't think we go wrong with either of those appointments. Anything else, if it's Ralph's pick, I'm good with it. But I think that, Pochettino, I just hope the club aren't being cheap, because Pochettino made it plain this week through his people that he wanted the job. Ragnick has shown he wanted to come in. Pochettino has shown he wanted to come in. Anybody else I haven't seen show they want the job. Those two for sure want the job, So, that's a bonus for me. Somebody really wants the job. But I just thought it was stupid for Poch to want the job now. Yeah. Big up, Tragic Man. Take it easy. Enjoy that amazing North African weather. Hopefully you're living it up right now. I just want to let you guys know that for me, I feel like that, like I said, Poch or Ten Hag would be, with Ragnick above, I'd be over the moon with either. I just think that Poch shouldn't come yet, only because I know he wants it. I didn't want him to come yet now because he's at PSG for a few reasons. One, he's going to win the league this year, if he loses the league from this position, where he's been there a whole season, not a few weeks, and expected to win it. He stepped into a team that last year was right around first, but they were player turmoil. People were upset. People were always hurt there. Neymar, as me and Steven were talking, was back and forth doing whatever he wanted to do. And Mbappe was already making plans wanting to leave. It was a mess. And they have Leonardo, who no one likes to work with. So Lille was an amazing team last year, by the way, who people went and poached almost all of their players, which is what people do from this Farmers League every year. They go take all the farmers and bring them to their teams, because that's what we've been doing with France for a while. It's funny how they're a Farmers League, but in Germany, Bayern can win the league by 36 points, and that's just normal. Anyway, it annoys me with people just have a bias about leagues. But here's the thing. Poch what's everyone say about him? Good manager, could maybe be great one day, but he don't win. Well, why would he leave when he's about to win? He'll probably win a double. I don't want them to win a Champions League. They better not win a Champions League. So I think he'll probably win the League Cup again and win the league because what do they got? 11 or 12 points clear right now. I mean, unless Neymar and Mbappe both just take off for a while, which they're liable to do. But look through that team. Not take your FIFA glasses off, right? Take your FIFA glasses off and look at that team, right? Who's their main striker if it's not Mbappe's? So let's take Mbappe's out. Mauro Icardi. That guy's a ticking time bomb. You don't know what you're getting out of him. You know, he's too busy right now fighting with his wife, who he stole from another footballer that got him excommunicated from the Argentinian national team. He's a walking wounded person, allegedly, just wild. Messi didn't even like him, kept him out of the team forever. But now you bring in Messi, arguably the greatest player ever, who plays when he wants to. He's struggling with adapting to the physicality of the league. He doesn't really fit into Poch's system. Poch, to be honest with you, I bet you Poch didn't want him. Poch didn't want Donnarumma. And the reason he didn't want him is because it upset the balance of the squad. But does Leonardo care? No. You have Keylor Navas, who people may not rate, but I've watched him years over here in CONCACAF. He is a solid keeper. I mean, he's a really solid keeper. But what they do, they bring in Donnarumma, who will be one of the greats. If he's already a top 5 keeper in the world, you can't pass up on him. But that stuff upsets the balance of the squad when half the team are best friends with the goalkeeper that you're just replacing, and the coach don't even want to replace him, because Poch said so. Then you bring in Sergio Ramos, one of the greatest defenders ever, one of the greatest captains ever. He hasn't even kicked the ball yet. I don't think he's even been on the pitch for PSG. Then you got the midfield that's a mess. As I said, what Ander Herrera's doing. You got Verratti, who is amazing, but never plays. He's always hurt. When he plays, they're a different team because he covers so much ground and plays so well in the midfield, breaking up play and winning the ball back, that it lets the lazy front three that don't do crap just don't do crap. Mbappe tried to leave in the summer because he wants to go to Madrid. It's always been his dream. He's made that plain. They forced him to stay. I'm sure that went over real well. What did they turn down from Mbappe? What did Real Madrid offer? Like 150 mil? And they're like, nah, we're good. We'll force him to stay here for a year. So he's been bitter. You got Neymar, who one of the great players in the game, but when does he want to play? His heart is not in it. He reminds me of Ronaldinho. All the skills, all kind of greatness, but does he even want to play? We don't know. Or would he rather club? It is what it is. You have Di Maria. Not to say anything else. Frickin' snake. You don't even want to say anything else about that guy. And who else do they have? Like, I think they're a mess. And I think that a lot of their players are, quite frankly, overrated. I think they're great on FIFA, but I watch the games. Kimpembe. I don't care if he's an 85 on FIFA? I don't care. I don't play FIFA. I don't care. He is not. Listen, he's so hot and cold. When he plays really well, he looks good. But the majority of the times, you think Harry Maguire has a mistake in him? Watch Kimpembe. Kimpembe got Ole his job. Don't at me with his jump up chicken wing off of Diego Dalot's shot. Y'all remember that? Oh my gosh. I feel like Poch fits our club better, but if Ralph really changes the structure, like I said, I have no problem with either. I think that, again, if you left Poch at PSG for a few years, he's going to win the league there. He's going to win some stuff. But he loves you. I don't know why he loves United so much, but I feel like that when he was linked to United after Champions League final, I think that Spurs lost him then. And he never complained. He had 3 straight transfer windows at Spurs with no backing, no players. And then he gets a Champions League final and he comes out talking nonsense. And this is why, if we get Poch, I need him to win the league this year in France, and I need him to win a cup. I need a double out of him because I want if we get Poch, we don't need a submissive Poch. My nervousness about Poch was how bad he's been twerking this week. Is that I don't want him desperate for United, right? I don't want him like, we know he wants the job, right? But we want him to come in with some like, look, I'll take this job, but this is what I need from these owners or whatever. And I think that Ralph is not going to, if Ralph is there, man, it could be happy days for us guys. It really could. And like I said, even if it all went bad with Ralph, the fact that they're even trying this for me is a good sign, because it's a sign that someone somewhere is thinking about the football first. The football on the pitch, the structure of the club first. Matter of fact, I said last year, people got mad at me. I said, if you brought in a director of football last year, it was because I was thinking about Potts last year. I said Paul Mitchell. I said, bring in someone like that, and you can keep Ed. Just move Ed out of football totally. Make him like the marketing director guy. He runs the business side of the club. Put Ed in charge of getting the next sponsorship. I don't care. But ultimately, it needs to be about football. And I think it's going to happen. I'm pleasantly surprised, guys, to be honest with you. Like, Buck said it. He said, I'm nervous about a false dawn. Oh, man. Boy, you think our rival fans thought we were unbearable the last few years when we've been bad. Boy, they better hope we don't get this right, because we are going to be out of control. Well, anyway, guys, listen, I'm really excited about Ralph coming in. My final thoughts on the matter is I'm going to give him a little bit of time, because I don't think he's going to change everything the way it needs to right away. And we'll see how it goes. I'm more excited about the cultural reset at the club. When I say cultural reset, it's not disrespecting the past. It's the fact that the world has changed. I hate to use a personal illustration, but I've been leading an organization. I was leading an organization I was in an organization for over 20 years. I became the head guy, CEO of this nonprofit. I spent almost 12 years in that role. This summer, right before the summer, I resigned my position. I put someone else over it. I trained somebody and did some things, put them in place, and I left. I sold everything. I moved halfway around the country, which, America's a big country, so it's 1,400 some miles, by the way. So I left, shifted everything. And one of the reasons is because that organization needs to move on from me and from my legacy. What happened there from me and my family, because my family had started the whole thing. How we were doing things, how I was doing things 5 years ago is not how it needs to be done right now. And I recognize that. I honor everything that I've done, my family's done, all of that. But there needed to be a change. And that's what I mean by cultural reset. I'm not disrespecting Sir Alex. I'm not disrespecting Ollie. Sometimes you need to move on from what was and move into what is now. And I think that's with Ralph Ragnick, we have the potential of doing that. So I'm excited for that. Vaughn says he's a Poch guy. I got time for that. Poch or Ten Hog, either one, I'd love to see come in, but we'll see. Let's just see how the next few weeks goes. Anyways, from Sean from World Red Show, everyone's welcome on the channel. Thank you for jumping in, guys. Listen, I won't be back live tomorrow. If I do, it'll be right after the game, because my son has a big showcase tomorrow in Austin, which is about 2.5 hours from where I live. So as soon as the United-Chelsea game is over, we'll be hitting the road for my boys to go play in front of some scouts and see if we can't get it done. So shoot some good vibes their way. If you're a praying person, shoot up a prayer, whatever it is. Anyway, guys, we always got to show love to each other. You know how it is on Worldwide Red Show. Even if you disagree, you're welcome to be around here. It's a Yankee love to love. Like, subscribe, get involved. Until next time, guys, I will catch you on the other side. Listen, as always, glory, glory, man united, and I am